Okay, so we're going to go over the writer's workshop steps, which is on that pillar with the orange sheets over there. And today we're going to get into steps 1 through 3. We're going to write a parent letter as a literacy teacher. And so for those steps, we'll go through the brainstorming. I've got the research already provided for you. We'll draft. And then when you're working with your group on Friday or whatever date you set up, you'll be working on the revision, the editing, and the publishing. So we're going to do a real small project to start for our writer's workshop, and that's really beneficial to do. The focus is more on the writer's workshop steps than the actual prompt, and that's what you want to do in your classroom as well. And typically how that's done is through narrative writing. Does anybody know what narrative writing is? Narrative writing is simply telling a story. And so raise your hand if you ever had a class where you went back to school and you wrote a story about something that happened over your summer break. Okay, that's narrative writing. And a lot of times narrative writing is used in that way. I wouldn't do the example I just said because it's exhausting and everybody does it. And I feel like students are like, oh, again. But there's some neat ways to include some narrative writing to avoid that, oh my God, please, not another summer story. What I did in 3rd grade for Writer's Workshop is I asked parents if they would donate, if any parent would be able to donate binders. And every single year, one family would say, we've got it, and would donate a full class set of 25 binders. So they all matched. And those were our Writer's Workshop binders. And in those binders, I had page dividers for the steps of the Writer's Workshop. I had the pre-writing thing I had, which includes the brainstorming, a research section, an editing, a revision, all those tools. And the purpose, the reason why I did this is it was the student's binder, and it provided them with all these tools that they used in each step of the writing process. Because in teaching reading and writing, the ultimate goal is students are able to do reading and writing how? Independently, very good. And so with students being able to have this tool, it was a beautiful thing. So when I'd be doing a writer's workshop session one-on-one with a student going over the work, let's say that they had really boring verbs. I would be able to say, I bet we could spice these verbs up a little bit. So in your writer's workshop binder, I want you to go to the page where we did our vivid verb lesson and look at that sheet. And I want you to come up with some better verbs. And then I'd usually get some student ownership in it and choice and say, do you agree with that? Do you not? If they agree, I say, okay, how many do you think you could do? 5? Okay, great. I challenge you to go find 5 verbs to change into vivid verbs. And that's it. I don't have to do a little mini lesson. We've already done the lesson. And they have that tool kept in this binder. And so it's really simple to go and pull that out and get it. So I used binders, but it was 3rd grade. If you're teaching 5th or 6th grade, you'd probably want to be doing this electronically. And so how could you envision doing this electronically instead of using a binder? What do you think?
You could use like a portfolio or like a Google Docs folder.
Very good. Absolutely. I would use folders. And then I would have the different stages. Let's say that they finish the draft and they're moving to the revision. I'd have students do a save as. So they have the draft saved in that folder. They have a new version saved for the revision. When it's all done, they do another save as for the final. And why would I want that? What do you think? Absolutely. You can see the progress. And there is nothing, well, I shouldn't say it. One of the very rewarding things as a teacher at a parent-teacher conference is to be able to pull out different drafts of writing. and different final products to be able to see that growth. So important to share that with the parents, and who else? Who's even more important to share that with than the parents?
The student?
The students, absolutely. Have them pull out their first draft of the year and halfway through the next draft and look at the final ones too, but point out the progress to the students. I think sometimes as teachers, we get so busy teaching that we don't take the time to step back and look at the growth and point it out to students. And in this room, how many of you would say that you loved writing? That was that was me. It was one of my favorite subjects to teach as well. How many of you hated it? Hated writing. It was almost like a dread type thing. And how many of you are just indifferent? Okay, so our goal in this class is to get to a point in our teaching where students can be really excited about it. And that's one of the simplest ways to do it. Oh my gosh, look at what you've done. Get excited about it so that students get excited too. And include choice. When I talked about the summer narrative writing, that's a really good one for a choice, but it's just been done so much. And so what I always did is to start off Writer's Workshop, I would have a 3 to 4 page packet, I guess I'll say, where I asked students a whole bunch of questions. So do you have pets? What are their names? Do you have siblings? What are their names? If you could write a movie, what would it be? What's the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you? What's your best trip that you've ever taken with your family? If you could star in a movie, what movie would it be? That just those types of pretty random questions. And then when students would come up and say, I don't know what to write about, or I don't have anything to write about, okay, go to that sheet and pick something out that interests you. And oh my gosh, that worked like magic. It was just amazing how streamlined that binder was and the way that it was set up. Okay, so Writer's Workshop, and for our Writer's Workshop, we're going to be doing an expository writing piece, and I have an anchor chart up. And so I'm going to ask you, what's the benefit of anchor charts? Why do we go through the bother? I'm going to come to you, but I'm going to, Annie?
Visual.
A visual, and why is a visual important?
Because for students like to see where we're headed to, right? I don't know. They, how to word that? I don't know. They're all different. There's different type of learners, right?
Very
Not
good.
just listeners. There's people who like to see what we're talking about too.
Very good. Do you have anything to add?
I was just going to say that it lays it out for them to see and just kind of prepares them for what's coming.
Very good.
It can be used as a reminder beyond your lesson.
Perfect.
Rather than students like asking a question that's already been asked, go back to it, like that kind of practice.
See, I don't even need to teach. You guys already have it down. You're so good. You even thought of a couple that I didn't have in my head. So perfect. Anybody have anything to add? Absolutely. The main things that I was thinking about is I am not a good, how do I say it? I'm not a good listener. I will actively listen to you, and I like listening to all of you, but I have to be really focused and I have to be mindful to do that because my mind runs a mile a minute. And when I've got 20 things on my list to do before noon, I'm truly thinking about those things. And I don't think I'm the only one that goes through that. So for me, I make connections much better if I hear it and I see it. And definitely after you're done teaching it, to have it as a reminder. Now, most schools, you'll walk in at the start of the year, and what's it look like around the room? Is it totally decorated, or does it look a little bare to start? I think I heard something. A little bare, absolutely. And so that's definitely changed from when I taught. It was bulletin boards were up, everything was decorated, it looked perfect. But now it's a much more conductive learning environment to have all these anchor charts up and reminders. One tip for you with the poster board or the post-it notes, I would go all the way to the edge, and I'll be cutting these off so I can laminate them. So once you make an anchor chart, save yourself the time next year, laminate your anchor chart so that you can pull them out and get them up. Now, oftentimes, this isn't the way anchor charts are done, is it? I have it completely done. It's ready to go. Typically what you'd have is you'd have the title, introduction, and then you could have the main idea, 1, 2, 3, and conclusion. And then as a group, you would say, okay, what do we need to include in the introduction? And you know in your head what you're looking for, but the students participating, you'd write it as it happens. Now, that's not possible every single time, but that's generally how anchor charts are done. But there's not a ton of time in the teaching day. So what I would guess will happen, you'll have some made and done, and you'll have some not completely filled out, but you could still laminate it and then use marker on top of that lamination, and then you use hairspray for a permanent marker to get it off the lamination. Okay, so expository writing, what is it? It is providing information to people. That's what expository writing is. And typically, you'll have the introduction, you'll have 3 or so main ideas, depending on the size of it, and then the conclusion. And for our expository writing, we're doing the parent letter as a literacy teacher. And so we'll start with an attention grabber. We'll link background information about the topic, what the letter will explain, and then we'll have main idea 1, 2, 3. For the first main idea, I have an article on the Start Here page. It's called Language Arts. And basically what it does is it goes through and explains the 6 different types of language arts, which we have listening, speaking, reading, writing, viewing, and visually representing. So the 6 elements of language arts will be one of your main ideas. What do you think the 2 other main ideas could be in your parent letter? And what I'm going to do is have you get out the sheet as we're going through this together, this expository writing pre-write sheet. Very good. So next to, on the left, it says, write down 3 topics you know well. So in one of those, I want you to write 6 elements of language arts. And then underneath, where it has the 1 through 5, you can go ahead and fill in listening, speaking, reading, writing, viewing, and visually representing. Okay, read through them one more time. Listening, speaking, reading, writing, viewing, and visually representing. Okay, so we've got one of the main ideas done, and you have the research for it on the page to the article. What's another category that we could include?
I have a question. Is this like a beginning of the year letter to a parent?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so then could you write about yourself?
Yes, yep, absolutely. So the question was, is this a beginning of the year letter, an introductory letter to the parents? It is. It's an introductory letter as their language arts teacher. And so you could, one of the main topics could be about me, your background. If if you have any, typically I like to talk a little bit about my kids. I think I do it too much, but when you talk about your kids or your husband, it makes you kind of a real person versus the teacher. And you really want parents to see you as a person. You're the child's teacher too, but you don't want to include any information that's intrusive into your life. But if you have a pet or a dog or a cat that ruins your plastic on your window, feel free to include that, just so that you want them to see you as a real person, so they don't tear you apart when they get upset or frustrated about something. Okay, so we've got 6 elements of language arts. We've got about you as the teacher. Let's throw out some ideas for a third.
More specifically, like your philosophy or something.
Ooh, I like it. Philosophy of teaching. Other ideas.
Goals for the year.
Oh, nice. Goals for the year. Keep them coming. They're good. You could give them more information. If they would like to help their child in language arts, you could provide some links for Read, Write, Think is a really good source that's free and available. If there's any type of a writing conference that's happening, you could provide that information. I always like to leave with giving the ability to learn more in these types of letters. So for the third topic, pick whichever one that you like the best. This is going to be about a 1-page letter to the teacher. Down below, the 2 selections that you made. And if you want to include 4, by all means, go for it. You're not limited to 3, but fill out little pieces of what you could add for that. And I'll give you about 5 minutes to fill in the other 2 sections. Oh, time goes so fast. Okay, so what stage are we in right now in the writing process? What's it commonly referred to? What you're doing right now by
Brainstorming.
absolutely, you're brainstorming, which is the pre-writing process. If I would have come in here and told you you're writing a parent letter as a language arts teacher, would have that been more challenging for you to get started and do versus doing this pre-writing exercise? Absolutely. That type of writing can happen a little bit later in the year, but when you start the year, you really want to engage students in this brainstorming type of activity. And as you progress through the year, you can ease up on it a little bit as they develop these tools in their binder that they can go back to and use if they want. I'm the type of teacher that I like to introduce different methods of brainstorming, but whatever method works for you, that's great. That's individualized instruction. That's ownership. That's a good thing to get students to the point where they choose their brainstorming tool or method. Okay, the second step is the research. What part of this activity is our research? Is the research knowing about the topic? What have I provided you with?
Those 6 elements of language arts.
Awesome, thank you. The 6 elements of language arts, that article is your research part of it. Okay, then the drafting, that's the actual sit down and write. And on this too, with kids, if someone is a pencil paper, that's great. We can do it that way. If someone prefers a laptop, that's great. The only thing I wouldn't want students doing is on an iPad doing the hunt and peck, because that's just a really bad habit to get into. So I would avoid that. Unless they have the keyboard with their iPad and they can do it that way. Okay, so in a little bit, you're going to be able to go off and work on your own for the drafting. On your own, what's an idea for an attention grabber in this? For a parent letter, literacy, what would be a good attention grabber? Alexis.
I probably do like a favorite quote of mine.
A favorite what?
A favorite quote of
Awesome.
somebody.
I love it. A favorite quote. What else? You could throw some shocking statistic about education in there.
I was just gonna say a simple greeting.
A simple greeting. I can't wait to get to know your child. And I tell you from experience, writing is the best way to get to know your students. It's amazing what you learn about them through their writing. Did you have an idea, Annie?
I don't know, but just something maybe about like the school mascot or something. Like, I like go nice.
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, you could put a little, like the Wartburg Night on there and have a little, even maybe a little bubble. Welcome back to the school year. Wartburg Nighter. What's his name?
Sir Victor.
Sir Victor. Thank you. Okay. Linking background information about the topic. So basically in the introduction, what this means is this is what I'll be covering in this letter to prepare them for the reading, which is the thesis, sorry. The background information about the topic, I wouldn't, in a parent letter, I don't think I'd worry about that one as much. The main thing is get their attention, tell them what will be in the letter, and then you're really getting into the about me, 6 elements of language arts, and then the 3rd or 4th topic that you choose. Definitely include these supporting details. You can't just say that writing is important without anything to back it up. You can't just say that we will be listening, speaking, reading, writing, and using visual representations. You have to say, this is what a visual representation is. This is how we'll be using visual representations. And you'll get that from the article that you'll be doing. And then in the conclusion, you're restating, you're summarizing main ideas, and the personal comment on event in expository writing in a parent letter, I would probably just end it with, here's some sources for more information. Feel free to stop in anytime. We welcome visitors and we'll be in touch. Or maybe this is our class site where you can keep up to date on the incredible writing that our students are doing. This is where their work will be published, type of thing. Okay, any question on the pre-write or the research? Yes.
So for a parent letter, if you're talking about statistics and things, would you say it's a good idea to like put it in APA format or list your sources?
I would.
Okay.
I would. It seems awkward in a parent letter, but it's very professional to do that. And my feeling personally in the education field, we need to uplift ourselves as professionals because we've not rightfully so, we're taking heat. And it's unfortunate, but I think we need to be our own advocates and demonstrate that level of professionalism we all have. Good question, thanks. Okay, so that's what we're covering today, the pre-writing, research, and the drafting. You're gonna write this letter, and when you get together in your PLC group on Friday, you're gonna exchange your letter with one of your peers. And I'll have you pull out this revised sheet that I had all of you pick up. There's 2 parts to it, revise, edit, and share. And so the first 2 sections, the revise and the edit, you'll be doing on your own. So you're going to go through and you're going to engage in the revision process. You're going to engage in the editing process. And then with the person you exchange the letter with, they'll fill out the last part, the share. I'm asking you to bring this back on Monday in class. And what I'll do is I'll simply go around, say, yep, Brooke did it, did it, did it, did it. And I'll just give you credit for having it done. But it has to be with you, has to be done so that I can do that. Okay, so the fourth step is revision, and the fifth step is editing. What do you think about that? Is that how you do it? Do you first revise, change paragraphs around, include information that you don't have enough here, or maybe you have too much here, so you take it out? I saw Luke shaking his head. What do you do, Luke?
When I write papers?
Yeah.
When I write papers, I get it all down, so it's out of my mind, and then I go back and finish it up.
Yep. I can't revise before I edit and proofread. It drives me bonkers to see my mistake. It's just like a creature of habit. I have to fix it. And so typically my process is pre-writing, research, drafting, editing, revising, editing, publishing. So I usually have 2 editing stages in there because I just can't revise. I can't look at the content if there are errors in it. But this is what we teach students to do. I think it's important, though, to remember human nature, how we actually do things. So you'll be engaging on your own, revising and editing. You'll share it with a partner. They'll fill out this bottom part. You'll go back in, do some more revising, more editing if needed. And then publishing is you'll be sharing it with me. The publishing part is truly one of the most important pieces and often forgotten because we just don't have a lot of time. But here's the thing, student writing is going to be so much better if you let them share it with peers. One step beyond that, if they publish it on electronic format where people outside of the school can see it, the writing improves again. And so depending on the audience for the paper, students' writing does change. So why am I telling you this, and what's important to do in your teaching at the very beginning before students start writing? Izzy, and then we'll go to Michaela. Lizzie, sorry.
Tell them that their peers will be editing it or outside sources.
Okay, perfect.
I'm gonna say so that the classroom environment and classroom social emotional environment that they trust their peers, that they're not going to judge each other in the way they respect each other.
Very good. Other thoughts? Yes?
It might not be a bad idea to like put that in their parent teacher letter as like a release, just like when you take photos of kids, they have to have like an agreement.
Perfect. Yep. And then you could set up a Google Doc or a Google room where students upload their writing. And then you could send sheets home for parents to comment on the after they wrote. What are their reflections on their student writing? You could do it in pairs. There are a lot of ways you can have students share their writing that doesn't take a ridiculous amount of classroom time. But you want to do that every now and then too. Take the time in class to celebrate student writing and their accomplishments. But tell them up front, we're going to be sharing this with your peers outside of the classroom, and we're going to make them incredible because I'm going to be here with you every single step of this. And truly at the beginning, you're doing a lot of one-on-one writing conferences with students. And then just like other classes with scaffolding, you're heavily involved at the beginning, and then the control eventually releases to the students and they take more responsibility towards the end of the year. And it's a beautiful thing because as a teacher, you've got a lot more energy at the beginning than you do at the end. And there's so much paperwork at the end to get done as a teacher, so that helps too. Okay, so any questions on the parent letter and the steps that you will do on your own and in your group? Okay, when you're done, I'll ask you to upload it into coursework for me to review and assess. On Friday, we're not meeting, but your task for Friday is to get into your PLC groups, which I'll give you time here to figure that out. Share the parent letter, peer review, edit. And then I'm asking you to engage in another brainstorming. As a group, you'll be writing a research paper, and this is on the start here. It's a brainstorming process for the inquiry paper. So basically, I'm asking you to come up with 10 ideas related to language arts that interest you. What, as a group, what can you see spending some time doing? Then the second page is I want you to pick 3 of those 10 ideas out and continue your search, take your time, write down 3 subcategories for each topic. Subcategories are related to the topic, have influence on the topic, or are affected by the topic. And then after you go through that process, you're going to select your topic. You're going to select 1 out of those. You'll go to the next page and you're going to, and this is for you. I'm going to check and make sure that you have it done, but I'm not going to read through it. This is a brainstorming process for you and your group. But then you'll go into 3 perspectives. You're going to describe it, you're going to trace it, and you're going to map it. And there are instructions for all. Then you're going to break it up into a group, and you're each going to find 1 research article related to the topic and do an annotated bib, combine it as a group. Any questions on this task?
This is with our PLC group.
Correct. Correct. And also on the start here, I have a link of previous topics to help you in that brainstorming of some interesting topics that other students have done. But I really want you to be interested in this because we're going to be writing this research paper throughout the whole term. And if you're not interested in it, it gets painful and awful. But we'll start with, we're going to write the introduction, and here are the 3 paragraphs we need. We'll go through those writer's workshop steps, and then we'll go to the next section. We're gonna really break it down and piece it out so that you can mimic that when you get out and you're teaching. Okay, so, and then on your own, I'm asking you to upload the parent letter and then read chapter 1. It's only pages, and it might have changed, but in chapter 1 of your literacy, balanced literacy textbook, I don't want you to read the sections related to reading, only the sections related to writing. So on this, I have pages 23 through 25, very small amount of reading. The majority of the book is reading versus writing. But I'd like you to read that, and then we'll have a short quiz when you come in, a reading quiz on Monday morning. Yes.
Like we're doing the reading or the writing?
So, yep. So parent letter. As a group, you're brainstorming packet. There's 4 pages. And then you're going to read pages 23 through 25 of your lit for the 21st century book. Okay, so the rest of, that's all I have for today, unless you have questions. Oh, the memes, perfect. I'll figure that out real quick. While I'm figuring out the memes, how about you grab the marker, I'll put it up on my stand, and decide on your groups. If someone isn't in a group, I'll put it right there. If someone isn't in a group, I'll just add them to a group that has an open spot. Thank you for doing that. Okay, the time is yours. Don't leave before you're put your name up on a group, or if you just don't have one, let me know, put me wherever. Do you have a question?
Okay, you're okay.
I love your dress, Annie. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, that would be easy.
And I can join us.
I just have to talk. Steal her.
Each have to-
Yeah. It started by. This time,
Huh? Yeah.
No, I just did, I thought it did. And like, I have to get it. It's still really hard. I'm getting it. And then Dr.
you got it. It's a tough name.
Yeah, I always want to say Kipe, but I know it's
Most people say Kippy.
we put Emma in our group.
Wonderful. Thanks for doing that. Yep, I
And then
appreciate
also
it.
the-
Do you wanna? There you go.
Hey, Emma, I put you in my group with Abriana and Madison. So if that's okay.
Hold on. That might be okay, but I think who's in your group? Because Haley also put me in their group.
Oh, Haley put you in your group? Because we did, me, Abriana, Moore, and Madison Houston. I can't read it very far from here.
Yeah. I mean, I don't care, but I know Haley also wrote me in her group, so that's up to you too. I don't know.
How about Emma? How about we leave you in both groups and I'll let you know the groups that you got put in. And
Okay.
if there's one that has more or needs more.
Because we're still missing one other person, right? Like you're recording it for someone?
Yes, I'm recording and someone put. Someone put. Who's the other person that's not here? It's Annika. Did anybody put Annika in their group? Annika Perry.
We have an extra spot.
Do you mind her in your group? I mean, that's a weird way to ask it. That was awkward. If you'd like to, great. Let's see, we've got 4, we got 5, 4, 4.
Emma's in both groups, wonderful, and 3.
And if anybody needs to deliver anything to Emma, I'm her roommate, so just give it to me.
Perfect. Emma, do you have which one?
Yeah.
You're on mute.
I'll go with Haley's group just because I know they can work with my schedule if that's okay.
Okay, great. Do you care if we add to your group then, Annika? Yeah, great, thanks. Perry, it's right, Annika Perry, perfect. Thanks. Okay, the winners of the literacy memes. We have a tie for first place. We have Lizzie and Bree. Lizzie, yours was, do you want to explain?
Oh, yeah, it was the Winnie the Pooh one, right?
I think so.
Yeah, so it was Winnie the Pooh, just normal, using so in an essay, and then like him all fancy, using therefore.
I love it. That was awesome. Okay, so come and pick out your book. Bree, what was yours?
One of them was a picture of like a kid with his face down and he had a mask on, and it was like me after trying to get my students to understand the b and p sounds with my mask on.
That's awesome. That is great. Come on up and pick out your book. Okay, and then for second place, we had a 4-way tie. Luke, what was yours? I see trying to nap in class.
Oh, it was a Squidward meme.
Oh, I love
Has,
Squidward.
like, his eyes closed. It's like me trying to nap in class, and it's like the eyes open and you're like freaking out, and it was like teacher calls on me.
So Luke, you know now that we need to do that at some point in this
Yeah.
term. Very good. I'm gonna be watching especially close so I can catch you off guard. Okay. Oh, wait. We've got one more. I just saw the second one on here. Hunter, describe yours. Okay. Can anybody remember who voted? This is the speaking one. While you're looking that up, Abe's, describe yours for us.
Okay. I had like SpongeBob all angry, and I said when I saw my students there for stay inside the races and they don't finish their work. And then the second one was like the trend that was like going around a while ago, like your pants. It's like me and my students saying your, it's like YOUR. It's the lady in the cat, and she said your pants, and then they're saying no, you are pants.
I love it. I love SpongeBob so much. And my favorite SpongeBob one, and we'll see if you all hit this term with your writing. It's the one where he has to do fine dining. So he's up in his brain, dumping everything except things related to fine dining and waiting or something like that. And you can see him, he's just yanking those file cabinets open, and they're getting rid of everything in his head. It's just an awesome one. Oh, come on up and pick out your book. Aaliyah.
One was like, the guy saying like when I use therefore instead of so, and then the other one was like the guy looking at the girl walking by as he's holding the hand of another girl, and the girlfriend was like listening to the teacher the first time, and then the guy is me asking the teacher what to do after she just said it or something like that.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's painful. It hurts. Hunter, did you find it?
I thought it was the speaking one.
Yes, speaking.
It's a little puppet thing. Like I'm all scared, and it says when you finish presenting, your teacher says something.
That's it. That's good. Go ahead and pick out your book. Michaela. Speaking.
It's CH or K?
Which
Two
Michaela?
Michaelas.
Michaela S. Shut.
I think the speaking one was like the guy that's blinking and he looks up and he like looks dead inside, and it says like 15 seconds into a 15-minute presentation of a monotone speaker.
Oh, painful. That hurts. Hopefully none of you have those eyes after my classes. Okay, good job. One thing I want to say about this activity, how many of the language arts elements did we hit with this very simple, or in my mind, it was a simple activity and something that was kind of fun, hopefully was motivating, brought some humor in. What do you think? Go ahead. Absolutely, visual representation. What else?
Didn't we get them all because like those are all the categories?
We did hit them all. Yep, on a very simple task. And then here's the other thing I want to say. Well, two more things. So the meme, you're going to have kids in your class that hate writing. And this meme task is something that could possibly engage them in writing. And then you as a teacher, if you know that they hate writing, but they have an incredible humor, key in on that. key in on the kid's humor and celebrate it with the kid. And the next time they start writing, encourage them to maybe do a comic book strip. So they're still writing, they're still engaging with those pictures, and just get them some good wins and some things to celebrate and gradually progress them into something a little deeper. So dip your toe in the water to start, let them feel success, celebrate that success, and just get deeper and deeper as you go. But writing, it can be this simple. And then by having you all read it and vote on it, you're engaging in the reading process. So pretty cool. One of the times that I did this with a class, my son Nick caught on to it and he created a meme and put all the hashtags on Twitter. And it was a meme making fun of me. And that was the meme that won. He was in high school at the time. I just thought that was classic. And so the only reason I say that too is if you can make learning fun, even if it's at the expense of yourself, go with it. Be brave enough to laugh at yourself. And I didn't say that. I'm not encouraging you to go throw memes out there about me. Let me be clear about that. But have fun. Have fun with writing because it is a fun topic. Okay. Use the rest of the time, the whole 10 minutes, to keep working on your draft, start writing your parent letter. If you want to do that here, great. If you want to go somewhere to do it, that's fine. But no class on Friday. We'll see you all back here on Monday. Do you have any questions, Emma? You're welcome.
I had one because I couldn't quite hear you when you were first going through it, but can you just quickly go through the parent letter again for me? I think I have like the basis of like we have do the intro and all that, but you guys were doing that pre-writing thing and I couldn't hear you because you walked away from the mic.
Sure. And so let me show you real quick. The pre-writing is on that writer's workshop bundle on the Start Here page.
Okay.
And it's for expository writing. So that's the one that you're going to want to find. But Mike is coming back and he can show you which one too. But it's in that writer's workshop bundle. You just have to scroll through. And then this.
Yep, I think I'm there.
Okay, great. So basically, you're going to want to have an introduction, have some type of hook, tell them what the letter will be about, the thesis. And then you're going to have 3 topics. One is going to be the 6 elements of language arts, which you can use the article that's on the Start Here page in my Wartburg to do that for the research part of it. And then the other options, and help me out here, the other about me, more information, teacher philosophy,
Okay.
as some ideas. I'm guessing it'll probably be about a one page letter, so nothing too big. But then maybe let's see, if you're still in quarantine when your group meets for the PLC, maybe you could just exchange it electronically.
Okay. Yeah, because we're gonna meeting in Zoom for that.
Okay, great.
Sorry, that helps. Thank you.
Any other
I think
questions?
we're all good. I think I should be all right with everything else. Thank you.
Very good. Thanks, Emma.
Bye.
Don't go too crazy being stuck in your room.
I'll try not to. Thank you.
Okay. Yep. Bye-bye.
Yeah, so if she tests